So welcome, thank you very much for coming along. There's a couple of things I wanted to talk about first. So one thing is host rewards. We've got some limited time host rewards on this month, and I've got one of them right here to show you, and that is the glider board here. So the glider board is you can get this from the mix shop, or you can get it from hosting. So all you need to do, it's protecting your scale. So it's got little indents where the feet go. And you lift up the front and you can glide it like that. But when it's down on the surface and you push, it won't move. So that is a limited time host reward, along with the Cobalt vacuum cleaner. If you haven't seen the Cobalt vacuum cleaner, let your consultant know, because we can send you videos and things of it. I have one, it is amazing. Kelly's cleaned a little bit of Kelly's floor with one as well. They are really, really cool. So there's also a deal on that. So just look out for that. The other thing I wanted to just mention is we have a lot of fun being consultants. All right. So we enjoy doing this, even though we don't have that many people on tonight, we still enjoy doing it. And so if you're someone who loves your Thermomix, someone who wants to earn a little bit of money, someone who has a message to share with the world, like, the team all know, and Kelly all know, most of you on here already know that I bang on about sustainability. So haven't tried it with dough, Vicky, sorry. So that I will ask Helen in a minute, because Helen's got one too, if she's tried it with dough. But if any of those things sort of, or you feel like you want a purpose, you want to belong to somebody, or into a group, then we'd love to have you on board. So please get in touch with your consultant and let us know. Helen, have you used made dough in yours?
No, I haven't done that yet. No.
No.
Sorry.
Okay. All right. To be tried, Vicky. Okay. All right. So tonight we have Irene making a minestrone soup. Kelly is our guest presenter. She is a good friend of mine, lives over the road. We share a lot of recipes and a lot of food and cocktails in lockdown. And she is doing the Aussie Chow Mein, and Helen is making a crumble. And we're going to go to Helen in just a minute. And I am making the sauce for a pasta dish. Unfortunately, Wendy was meant to be doing that and her internet is no good. So I've sort of jumped in towards the end. So, but first of all, we're going to move to Helen, and she's going to start with her crumble. Thanks,
Hello,
Helen.
welcome to my home. I'm Helen. I'm going to make the peach and pear crumble tonight, which my daughter will love me for, because she's at work. She's going to get picked up soon and she'll have that for dessert. I'm also using my glide board tonight. I love it, actually. It's easy because I usually have my Thermi in the corner and I can pull it out to do my virtuals, which is excellent. So I'll start the crumble. Okay, so we need 70 grams of wholemeal plain flour, 120 grams of plain flour, 100 grams of light brown sugar, 100 grams of unsalted butter. I'll just grab that from the fridge. In this weather, we've all got our heaters on, and this the butter must be cold. So just grab it from the fridge, pop that in, break it up a little bit. Squeeze my fingers. I did wash them before I started.
You're eating it, not us.
That's right. A teaspoon of baking powder. I'm going to pop the lid on with the MC and chop it on speed 4 for 10 seconds. We're going to add some rolled oats. Oats. Because I took my lid off, my scales went into negative. So just pressing the tear button brings it back to 0. and my 50 grams of rolled oats. I have pre-weighed everything, so it didn't really matter. And flaked almonds. Pop the lid back on again. 5 seconds on speed 4. Now I'm going to transfer that into another container. Just show you what that looks like. So this is the crumble that will go on the top. Hopefully that'll fit into my container. Yep. Next, I've turned my oven on, so it tells you when to do your oven. So just preheat it at 180 degrees. And I have greased my pie dish. Set that aside. 1 orange zest only, no white pith. So I've already done that. 30 grams of light brown sugar. Pop the lid back on. 10 seconds, speed 10. Scrape down the sides of the bowl with the spatula. I'll show you what that looks like. Let's just mix it all up, chopped it all up, mixed it together.
I love it when they add the rind of citrus fruits into these things. They're just beautiful.
That's beautiful. Now I'm going to add my 600 grams of pears, peeled, cored, and cut into quarters. It's a little bit over. Oops. Now it's a little bit under because I just dropped one.
5-second rule.
No one's home, they won't even know. The floors have been cleaned and cleaned and cleaned because we've had plaster dust all over them. So trying to get plaster dust off your floor is a nightmare. A teaspoon of ground cinnamon. Pop the lid on. And 3 seconds at speed 3.5. Keeping the measuring cup inserted, so keeping the MC on. We're going to cook it for 6 minutes, 100 degrees on stir. So I'm going to set that going, and we're going to go to
me.
Mandy, sorry.
Yeah, I know, I'm Wendy tonight.
You are.
Okay, just a word on the crumble. If you choose to eat gluten-free, or if you need to eat gluten-free, what I tend to do, you can obviously use gluten-free flours, but I actually like to use nuts. And you can just substitute the same amount of flour with nuts. You can have a mixture of nuts and just grind them all up and have them. And that's how we generally have our pesto. I mean, sorry, pesto. I've got pesto on my brains now. All right. Okay. Thank you. Now, someone was making. Michelle Edwards was saying, yeah, just recently made the apple crumble cake. Great, delicious. Good recommendation. Thank you. All right, so I am doing this recipe, this chicken recipe. Oh, now my Thermomix is turned off. Too busy watching Helen making her delicious looking crumble. The other crumble that I really like, they're in Cookie Do UK, there's a summer fruit crumble, and that's really nice. And again, I just substitute the flour and I think there's oats in there and things, and you can substitute with nuts. All right, just give it a second to get my cookie dough connection running. So I am making the pesto and chicken pasta, or words to that effect anyway. First of all, I'm going to make the pesto. So when it's connected to Cookie Do, which is thinking about, okay, I'm going to literally come into my top left-hand side here, and because I had to weigh everything out, I'm going to recently cooked, which is just populating, and I'm going to hit the Basil Pesto. A restart. Okay, so I haven't quite got all the ingredients for this because I had to go to the supermarket on my way home from work to pick things up, and they didn't have everything. So it is a modified pesto, but with pesto, it really doesn't matter. You can use something green, doesn't matter whether it's spinach or it's, mind you, there was no spinach there at all, because that was my plan. You know, you need cheese, you need some nuts, and you need something green and a bit of garlic and some olive oil. So that's basically what I'm doing. I've got my 80 grams of cheese. In fact, I think it's a little bit under, but that was the end of the block, so I'm not starting a new block. Okay, so it's just going to chop for 15 seconds, speed 10. This is one of the really lovely things about the Thermomix. Your cheese, you can just get the fresh cheese, and it's beautiful. So you only chop what you need when you want it, when you need it. So this says 30 grams of pine nuts. This is a little modification. I am using cashew nuts. If you've ever used the chunky basil pesto, they use the cashews in there as well. Yes, cashews in there. So I'm putting those in. Garlic clove. And then it says 80 grams of fresh basil leaves only. I have a mixture of basil and parsley. In fact, it is mainly parsley. So that's going in. It's not quite that, but again, that's fine. 150 grams of olive oil. Oops. This is the arm workout. And in fact, I don't usually put the full amount. I put about 100 in. I find it can be a bit too oily if you put everything in. I don't know how you guys go with sugar, but usually when I'm making something with sugar in it, I probably do about 2/3, half to 2/3. But it also depends on your palate. There we go. That'll do it for enough arm workout.
Mandy, I keep reducing the sugar until the kids complain.
Oh, yes. Good idea, good idea. All right, so bit of salt. Lid on. 20 seconds, speed 7. It's really funny how your palate actually changes and you sort of go, oh no, that's way too sweet. So, all right, there we go, pesto. Hey, presto, pesto. So I have 2 bowls, so I'm just going to leave that in there for the moment and move on to the recipe. So, the bowl in. Coming back up here, and I'm going into my week. And I am making the chicken pesto pasta. So start cooking. I'm going to pop in, I've got an onion quartered, chuck it through the top there. So with this, it just says 1 brown onion quartered. If you want to, sometimes it will say 180 grams or 150 grams of onion, but it won't actually set the scales. If you want to find the scales, you hit the 3 little dots up here and hit the scales button. That will come up and then you cross it out there. 2 garlic cloves. Pop those. 200 grams of zucchini. So this is a good little test. Your vegetables should be able to go in through the hole like that. So we'll see if I've done well here. Okay. and some basil. So I've got the basil going in there as well. And 190 grams of the basil pesto. So this did say it made 350 grams, this recipe. So hopefully there's plenty here. Break it out and pop it straight in. Oh, yes, plenty. Oops. On there as well. Hungry Thermomix. Basil pesto everywhere. I'm actually going to use the lid of the previous one for the basil, so I don't dirty two lids, remember? 3 seconds, speed 7. Then going to scrape down the sides. All very green in there. Okay. 380 grams of water. So I'll just grab that. There we go. 1 tablespoon of chicken stock. Of course, it is Thermomix chicken stock. There's a little bit left in here. And I have a new jar. I don't know about your fridge, but mine tends to get filled up with all these jars. And sometimes I'm not very good at labeling them, so I have to have mystery jars in there. But I missed this jar at the back of the fridge, so I made some more, which is here. This one's a little bit tastier. Okay. A bit drier, that one. 500 grams of chicken thigh fillets cut into strips. Bit of black pepper. Measuring cup on, 10 minutes on reverse. So we don't want to shred up that chicken, so it's going to be on reverse. I'm just checking who's next. I think we're back to Helen.
Yes. Thanks, Mandy. Sorry, I'll come back down here. My next step, actually, before I do the next step, I'll show you what the apples look like. They smell gorgeous with the orange and the cinnamon and the apples. They're beautiful. So the next step is to add, so you're boiling a 410 gram can of peaches, draining them. Now, I bought an 800 gram can because we like to just have some extra to have on our cereal in the morning. So all I did was drained them and I just took out 245 grams. So that would be approximately the amount you would get from a 410 gram can. Pop them in and this is going to cook for another minute. Did you want to continue, Mandy, or do you want me to talk a little bit?
You can talk if you like. You've got something to talk about?
Yes, I went on to Cookie Do and had a look at all the different types of crumbles that are on there actually, and there's a lot. So if you don't like pear or peaches, there was quite a lot of crumbles. All I did was type in as a search crumble and came up with lots. So there was apple, rhubarb, pear and coconut, which sounds nice, strawberry, blackberry, the summer fruits, which you already mentioned, raspberry and apple. I've made that one a couple of times. That's beautiful. Pear and blueberry. That sounds interesting as well. So there's just a few that I picked out. There's lots of slices that you can make as a crumble as well, slices and cakes, which all sound very interesting. Mine's just about ready to hop into my...
Has anyone had a strawberry crumble? Because I don't know, cooked strawberry doesn't quite do it for me. It's like jam.
Yeah, I haven't done it, no. So transfer into my pie dish. And I hope my pie dish is big enough. Looks big enough. Just making sure my fruit is even. Angle that down a little bit. And then top it with the reserved crumble. So there's my dish. And here is my crumble. So I might end up being in the way. Let's see how I go. Basically just sprinkling it all on.
Feeling very jealous.
I can't wait to try this actually.
Yeah.
There is a lot of crumble. I'm not sure if I'm going to put it all on actually, because I don't know if it'll cook all the way through if I put too much on, if it's too thick. What do you think?
You can always freeze the rest of it and
yeah,
pull it out when you need it.
There's a lot left over and I've already got about an inch thick on there. I don't think I want to put any more. I might just leave it at that. And place it into the oven on a baking tray and bake for 20 to 25 minutes. So that's
beautiful.
Now.
Thanks.
No.
Now we're moving over to Irene.
Hi everyone. How's everyone tonight? Freezing. Well, I was a bit cold, so I'm making the minestrone soup, which we all want, something a bit warmer in winter. And this is all about trying to use up some of those leftover veggies that you've got in the fridge. Even with my pasta tonight, I've got two different types of pasta in here. Sometimes you get to the bottom of the jar and you've got a little bit left over. So just use what you've got. Don't have to go and buy, like this uses, I think, shells. We don't use shells, so I'm just using what we've got in our cupboard. So I'm going to start. So the first part of the recipe talks about, so I guess being a budget style session tonight, we're trying to do meals for, I guess, under $10 to feed the family. I look at every recipe that I'm using and I go through to look at all the ingredients that are in there and what their specific purpose is. So the parsley in this and the basil in this dish are more for a garnish, so you can leave them out. If you've got some growing in the garden like I do, great. I don't have any basil, so I'm just going to use the parsley. In terms of cost savings, those little punnets, I think they're like $3, which is ridiculous. So if you can't grow it, get yourself some dry stuff. So I often use some dry parsley. If I do end up buying something, for instance, tarragon, I've dried it out. So bottle it, dry it out, pop it in a jar, and then you've got it for your next dish. Particularly if it asks for, say, fresh rosemary, don't throw out, don't let it go off, dry it out and pop it in the jar. So I'm going to skip this step with the fresh parsley because I'm not chopping the basil. I'm just going to tear it and pop it in my dish a little bit later. Moving on to the next part of the dish, it asks for me to basically do 1 brown onion, which I've cut in half, 3 cloves of garlic. They're all going inside, and I'm going to chop those for 3 seconds on speed 7. Scrape down. I'm going to add my oil and I'm going to saute those for 3 minutes. So come back to me in 3 minutes, Andy.
Okie dokie. Just having a look on here. All right. Actually, beautiful. Once you've got that sauteing, do you want to show the book?
Yeah, sure. Well, let me do this. Cry a few tears. Still can't get out of that. So it's 50 grams of oil. We're very lucky. I've got some oil sent to us from Greece, so cost us as much to get it out of customs as it is to buy oil from here. So no cost saving there.
But it's made with love.
It is made with love and it's absolutely amazing oil. So we'll get that cooking. 3 minutes on speed 1. Okay, so a lot of the dishes being made tonight are coming from this book, our Simply Delicious book. This is actually a gift with purchase this month. So if you're buying a Thermomix in the month of June, you can actually get your hands on this. There's also a pizza tray and a 12-hole muffin tray that's up for purchasing. So back to that's the beautiful dish being made by Helen tonight, our Pear and Peach Crumble, which is fantastic. On the front of this box, it talks about basically it's feeding, making family meals for under $5 a serve. This book was published in 2018. So it talks about the Pear and Peach Crumble costing about 91 cents 4 years ago. It's probably a little bit more with all the price hikes that are happening at the moment. But there's some really great dishes in there. If I think about the dish that I'm cooking tonight, I want to talk about a few things. One is, I guess, some of the ingredients that are in there. So it talks about using a tin of borlotti beans. So I bought this just to give you the comparison. That cost me $1.20 on special, normally $1.70. I don't buy beans in tins. I wanted to do it just to obviously show you the difference. These are also from Safeway, Great Northern beans. We use a lot of those. We made some of Mum's fasolada, which is a beautiful Greek bean stew that we have. That 1 kilo bag at full price is $5.50. So basically 100 grams of beans will give you a tin of chickpeas. Once you drain that, it's about 250 grams of beans. So 100 grams of that, $5.50, 55 cents versus $1.70. So we're talking about a huge cost saving by simply buying stuff that's dry, whether it's lentils, beans. All you need to do is literally soak your beans overnight, because if you don't get rid of that first liquid, you're going to have a very sore gut. So 1 cup, 100 grams, you want to weigh it out. 1 cup's usually enough to make quite a big meal. Soak it in cold water, throw out that water, and then cook them. So it can take half an hour, 40 minutes to cook beans from, obviously once they've been soaked. And then basically you can refrigerate those and use them. So whether it's chickpeas, beans, I don't soak lentils. Some people do soak lentils. I've never soaked them, so they don't have that same impact. Vegetables.
Just hang on, before you move on to vegetables, we have the blade cover peeler.
Yes.
So you can slow cook those beans in your Thermomix.
Absolutely. So really, really easy to do. So I soak them overnight, pop your blade cover in, and do your beans. It's got a few seconds to go. Vegetables, I think, it's about $6-7 for a cauliflower, probably more for a cabbage at the moment. And I guess from my perspective, frozen veggies are actually really good value. I bought a kilo bag, $3. And it's got a little bit of everything that I want for my soup. This is 2 different bags of vegetables. I've got carrots, I've got broccoli, I've got cauliflower, carrots, corn, everything, peas is all in there. Good combination for this dish. So really worthwhile making. Now, the next part of this recipe asks me to add my tin of chopped tomatoes. Again, special, about 80 cents it cost me. So now a really good tip for anybody that's buying, tin tomatoes. It is obviously cheaper to buy them in the tins. If you buy them in bulk, you can often negotiate with the places that sell them. So we've got some really good grocers behind some of the, the Safeway. It's not going to happen at the supermarkets, but where that might be $1.20, you might be able to negotiate a price. So put your bargaining hat on, say, hey, if I buy a whole box, which could have 12 in there, can you, drop down 20 cents a tin? So it is worth asking if you are, you're trying to save some money. That's what tonight's class is about. So do yourself a favor and try and get your negotiation skills happening. Our vegetable stock paste. So remember, for most people, although I tend to make a fair bit because I use a fair bit from fresh vegetables, it's being made from your leftovers. So the bits of the celery you can't eat, tops and bottoms of vegetables that you tend to throw out. So do that. Sorry, 1 second. Next. Okay, it's asking for my water. So I'm just going to put a little bit just to dilute the rest of that, the tomato that's in there. I've already weighed this. So I've got my 650 of water going in. Okay, tomato paste, I don't like it that rich, so I'm going to leave it out. Pinch of salt. Okay, now it's asking for my mixed vegetables. So my potatoes, my carrots, my mushrooms, etc. Now, depending on what you've got in here, will depend on how long you cook this for. So it wants me to add, if I had potatoes, I'm actually not using potatoes. I would cook those for 15 minutes. Then I would add the remainder of the ingredients, which are my beans, let's have a look, my beans, my pasta shells, and then cook all of that for another 10 minutes. So I'm actually going to jump straight into this last part because I'm not doing the potatoes and I don't like my vegetables overcooked. So I'm actually cutting that 15-minute process out. But if you are doing the potatoes, you must do it through that 15-minute process, otherwise they'll be raw. So I'm going straight in with all of my veggies. So this goes from being a 40-minute dish all up in time to about 25, which is pretty good. And it feeds 6 people for about $6. It's pretty good. So in with my, I might leave the, I might wait till it boils and then I'll put the pasta in. Okay, on we go. So I'm going to change my time to 15 minutes. Once it starts boiling, I'm going to put my pasta in. This pasta takes about, if you look at the packet, it's about 8 minutes to cook. So we'll work it out from there. So here we go. See you soon.
Thank you. All right, I'll just quickly carry on with mine and we'll go over to Kelly. So now on mine actually says add 350 grams of dried penne pasta. Now, I don't like pasta, so I'm not going to put it in. Isn't the dish I would particularly have chosen to make just for that reason. So I could use gluten-free pasta if I wanted to, but I even had that a few weeks ago and I'm going, you know what, I much prefer to have veggies. So I'm just going to continue making the sauce. We've still got to cook the chicken a bit more. I'm going to put a bit of cream in here. And then what we'll do, we'll take this away with us going away for the weekend and I'll make zoodles and we'll have it with zoodles. So, but the recipe actually says now to pop the pasta in. So I'm skipping past that. And this is a great thing about Thermomix. It's so flexible. You just do what you want, really. I mean, Irene's changed her recipe. I'm changing my recipe. Putting in my cream. And again, that's what I've got. I just had a bit of cream left in the fridge. So whatever's going in, whatever's in there is going in. Get every last gram out. Stir with the spatula. That's probably more for the pasta, I'd have to say. Pop the measuring cup in, and then that's going to cook for 8 minutes. So it's the chicken really that's cooking. Obviously, the pasta would be in there, and it's probably going to be quite a runny sauce thinking about it because, of course, the pasta would absorb some of that liquid. So, but we'll have a look at it at the end, and it may be that, you know, that's something that you would adapt if you weren't doing the pasta thing like me. So, oh, hang on, I haven't done that bit yet. Okay, so that's going on there. And now we are over to the lovely Kelly, who is guessing for us. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me as guest tonight. This is really exciting. So the recipe that I'm going to cook for everybody, as you can see on my screen, I'll just lower it there, is curried beef and noodles or Aussie Chow Mein. And for me, this has a special spot because my sister's actually on the call tonight as well, but Mum used to make this for us as kids. And so this recipe is very similar to the one that my mum used to make for us. And I'll share a few tips as well as we go through in how I can sometimes alter the recipe a little bit to make it even more so like the one that Mum used to make for us. So I'm going to get started. First off, it says to place 2 garlic cloves and 1 brown onion cut into halves. So I've got those prepared already. So you can go my garlic and my onion that's been chopped in half. Just going to pop this lid on. Insert our measuring cup into the lid and then 3 seconds at speed 5 to get this chopped up. We'll hit next. It says scrape the sides of the bowl down with our spatula, and that's really just to bring everything down to the bottom for the next process. So I'll scrape that all down. Hit our next. Now it says to add 1 to 1.5 tablespoons of curry powder. This is where I try and make the recipe as close to our mum's recipe, and I always use Keen's curry powder, but there is a number of curry recipes on Cookie Do. So if you've got the stock there in your pantry, you can, and you run out of your Keen's or any other curry powder that you like to use, you can always whip up your own batch of curry powder, which of course keeps in the cupboard for as long as you need it. So I find that Keen's is quite strong. So I wouldn't use 1 to 1.5 tablespoons. So I might go with probably about half a tablespoon. Actually, I might crank it up a little. We might go 3/4 of a tablespoon this time round of our Keen's curry powder. Then hit next. 40 grams of olive oil, which I'm just going to keep an eye on my scales while I pour oil over my head. I don't know how you ladies do this. There we go, 40 grams. Insert our measuring cup once again, which is already in my lid, which is a great feature of the TM6. Now 3 minutes at speed 1 and at 100 degrees. So I'm going to start that going.
Thanks, Kelly. I got us out of step there, by the way. Sorry about that. Just showing, this is my curry powder. So it's just a curry powder on Cookie Do. As Kelly said, there are plenty there. And Kelly and I both live literally a stone's throw from Chadstone Shopping Centre, but it is quicker for me to make my own curry powder than it is to walk over there, and it definitely wouldn't much quicker than driving over there and trying to find a park, but definitely quicker than walking over and getting all the, buying some curry powder. So you find, and I'm sure a lot of you are in this position already, that your pantry changes when you have a Thermomix, and mine is just full of nuts and it's up behind. It's not tidy, all right, but you can see I've got all sorts of random jars and everything, because I know there's a lot of people probably got much prettier pantries, but this works for me. I'm reusing jars, I'm filling jars with things. I go to the source and take my own jars and get them filled up with the chickpeas and things that and the dried beans that Irene was talking about before, but all the herbs and spices as well. You can get rice there, all sorts of things. So that's why my pantry is not a pretty pantry, but it is, as Cindy O'Meara would say, a one ingredient pantry. So everything is made, from a single ingredient. So Cindy O'Meara, if you haven't heard about her, she's an amazing nutritionist. She has a website called Changing Habits, and lots of really great. She's a massive Thermomix advocate. She usually raffles one every year. I think it gives one away for something every year. So she loves it. But anyway, she's well worth going to have a look at there, particularly if you eat gluten-free. She's got lots of great ideas on there. All right. So yeah, just let me know when your 3 minutes is up, Kelly, because as I said, I mucked things up there.
I've got 47 seconds left. 47
seconds. Okay, well, that's all right. I managed to talk long enough then.
You've done pretty well.
All right. So anyone got any questions at this point in time I want to add? I can see Michelle said that she's going to have to try your chow mein over the weekend, which is nice.
And Mandy, I'll have a bit of a chat around this actually, and as we make it. We actually had chow mein last night in my household. Because I was working late, and I find that the chow mein recipe is a very good one to either make in advance and keep in the fridge. And it's a little bit like a lasagna. The flavors go through the chow mein after a day or so. Or I always pop it in a batch in the freezer as well. So I've got a meal ready to go. So our chow mein from last night that we had last night was a freezer meal. So it freezes quite well and defrosts, and it's easy enough for hubby to reheat.
That's fantastic. You've gone a little quieter, Kelly. I don't know why.
Not too sure. Can you hear me now? The Thermomix is going beside me.
No, that's better. That's better.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. No, good.
All right. Are you happy for me to keep going?
Yeah, you keep
the
going.
Recipe now? Excellent. Yep. All right. So I'm up to popping our meat in. So we've got 500 grams of beef mince. From memory, I think mine's 3-star mince. So if we're looking to try to keep the cost down, obviously you can do that through the type of mince that you're using as well. And the selection there. Also, if you can find cuts of meat that are cheaper as a piece of meat, then we can always make our own mince meat as well in the Thermomix. So grab your cut of meat and pop it in the freezer for about half an hour or so. And then, dice it up, pop it in the freezer for half an hour or so, and then pop it in your Thermomix and you can make your own mince. It now asks for 3 tablespoons of white rice, which I have here already prepared. I'll stick that in. Sometimes if I'm wanting to bulk it out, I'll put a little bit more rice in and then increase the water content as well. Just depends on how many people I'm trying to feed and how hungry everybody is. All right, pop our lid and measuring cup on again. We're going to now cook the meat for 4 minutes at 100 degrees on speed 1. Reverse.
Perfect timing, because mine's just finished its previous step. So that was, oh, I'll tell you what, it smells pretty good, but it is very runny. But the next step I've got to do is just add some peas. So note to self, if you're making just the sauce, I mean, it doesn't matter, it could be lots of extra sauce. We can have it in a soup bowl if we need to. But if you're not adding the pasta, then decrease the water. So I've just got some frozen peas here. A very green dinner. Stir to combine. And lid on, 2 minutes, reverse, speed stir. All right. How's your minestrone going, Irene? Oh, she's disappeared. That must be doing its own thing. All right. So anybody else got what meals do you guys select when you're trying to just watch your pennies a little bit? What sort of meals do you choose? Any of you out there? Just pop something. You can come off mute or you can pop into the chat. What are your ways of saving a bit of money with your meals? Everybody's got too much money. So the book that Irene was showing you, the advantage of having the Thermomix books, I mean, with all those recipes are obviously on Cookie Do, but that book in particular, every recipe, it tells you how much it is per portion. So thank you, Vicky. So the recipes that we've chosen tonight are all meals, and as Irene said, it was 2018, but at that point in time, all these meals were like $2.50 a serve, which is really very reasonable. And I had a bit of a look. Yeah, any pasta dish is normally cheap. Yeah, that's great. I had a bit of a look actually online, and I know we're not doing takeaway food tonight, but I mean, the chow mein could be classified as that. But, you know, if you were getting, even if it was just burgers for a family of 4, and you probably need 2 lots of fries as well, that's going to cost you about $60. Okay, and that's probably, you know, on the cheap side. And if you look at an Asian meal for 4, then that's up around $90. You know, it can be anything from, I've got my notes here, $18 to $27 for a main meal, and then obviously you need some rice as well. So that really adds up. So we are extremely lucky, and I'm actually very guilty of not wanting to get takeaway because it's so easy to make it in anything in your Thermomix. I love that, not buying lettuce Look, creamy tomato, salami pasta and cookie. Yeah, that's fantastic. That's a great idea, Michelle. And Helen, you said about the lettuce because that's what gets left in your house in the fridge.
No, because it's like $10 a lettuce at the moment.
Oh, is it? Okay, I didn't realise I haven't bought lettuce for a while. Yeah, cool. Okay. All right. Now, Kelly, how are you going there?
I've got 31 seconds to
All
go,
right,
so
well-
I am almost there.
Well, we'll come back to you. So I think it's just about, the other thing that helps you save money is cooking with seasonal vegetables and fruit as well. And if you can, if you can freeze things, like we actually ended up buying a big freezer, an extra big freezer, not just the fridge freezer, so that we can actually freeze things as well, and that helps too.
Okay, Mandy, are you ready for me?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. And I put in the comments before talking about freezing things. I've started to, if I've bought a sleeve of fresh herbs, to put the remainder in the freezer, and I'm finding that still works quite well. The coriander is not as crisp, obviously, when you're putting it in a meal, but if it's something that you're stirring through the meal anyway, certainly the flavour's there. And you tend to find that you can use the stalk as well. They sort of just break up a bit as you're putting it through, so it's quite good. All right, back to our chow mein. Our next step is to pop in some water. I'm going to just tear that for a sec. So 170 grams of water goes into this one. Tad over, but that's okay. Okay, next, 1 to 2 teaspoons of chicken stock paste. I've got my chicken paste that I keep in the fridge. This gets used quite a lot. In Mum's traditional recipe for chow mein that she used to make us, it used to have chicken noodle soup was the chicken base. So I find now that using the chicken stock paste from the Thermomix is very similar to using a chicken noodle soup. And because I'm gluten-free, the noodle element, I actually use just gluten-free pasta, which I just snap into small little pieces. And I find that works really well. So because I'm making this quite similar to Mum's, I'm going to pop in a little bit of pasta tonight as well. And I've increased the water just slightly to account for that. Okay, 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. Once again, to make sure that it's gluten-free, I'm just making sure that all the sauces that I use as well are also gluten-free. I find I've got to be a bit careful with this. Sometimes it can be quite salty. So if I've got people that are in the household that are a bit intolerant to the salt level, I'll reduce the soy sauce and then put the soy sauce on the table, and then people can adjust it to their liking as well. So that's the beauty of being able to basically use your Thermomix and adjust where you need to. Okay, we're going to put the vegetables in now as well. Look, really any vegetables can be used that you have in your fridge. I'm going to stick to the recipe tonight though, and it's asking for 2 celery sticks, 1 carrot cut into matchsticks, and 100 grams of frozen green beans. I had fresh beans in my fridge, so I'm going to use the fresh ones instead. I've got them all in my bowl here, so I'm just going to place those into the Thermomix. It says stir well with the aid of the spatula. So really it's just looking at trying to bring the meat up off the bottom of the bowl and integrate that with the vegetables that you've just popped in. Once again, pop our lid on with the measuring cup. And this is going to cook now for 4 minutes, speed on 100 degrees for speed 1, reverse.
Thanks, Kelly. Irene, are we ready to come over to you?
No,
Oh, how long have you got to go?
just cooking. So I've probably got 7 minutes to go.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Well, I will just share my screen then, and we will go into cookie do.
I've just pulled my crumble out of the oven.
Oh, okay. We can have a look at you. Hold on. But we're going to be all very jealous and very hungry.
There we go. So I've
Oh, wow.
it's starting to bubble around the edges. So it's gone a bit brown around the edges as well. So I thought I'll pull it out now. So that's what it looks like straight out of the oven. I'm going to let it cool for a little bit and then I'll plate it up.
Wonderful. And what are you going to, I mean, you don't obviously not going to necessarily serve it with that for the plating up, but what will you guys have with it?
Well, my family's just got home from being out to the shops and they brought home some ice cream and some cream.
Oh, perfect. All right. Lovely. All right. Thanks, Helen. All right. So we'll just go into cookie dough for a minute. And Irene and Kelly, you let me know when you're at your next stages. We need to have a look. So that's the dish that Kelly's actually making. But I just thought we'd go into exploring here. And one way you can find budget meals is literally to put the word budget in there. I have the filters I have Australia, the United States, United Kingdom. So I will have some duplicate recipes, but these are all, you know, budget recipes. You can see there's a bit of double up there, but there's a whole lot of different things. So there's you know, some curry powder. I mean, obviously that's cheap to make, but there's a whole lot of things. Oh, baby food. You can have baby food for dinner too if you want. But look at this. I don't know what actually that is, but we'll have a look at it. Venison. Interesting. So like a venison curry, that one. So I'm sure you're all over cookie dough. You just need to click on the 3 little dots. You can add it to a collection. You can add it to your week, add it to your shopping list. And just, oh, don't really want to show you that one. Let's go back. Under budget too, instead of recipes, we can go into collections. And here we are, we do have some budget-friendly recipes. There's some pasta dishes there. Italian, 3 cheers for chicken, a few things. And if I just take budget out, I actually want, we'll look at the book that Irene was showing you before. Simply Delicious. So this has got 88 recipes in it. It's got some really, you know, some really good options in here. Jacket potatoes, really easy. You know, sort of bao buns as well with salmon in them. The gozleme, I haven't made them, but I know a lot of people absolutely rave about the gozleme. That's the gluten-free thing why I haven't made them. Otherwise, they look amazing. The mini pad Thai frittatas I've wanted to make for a long time, but I actually haven't got around to doing that. But, you know, if you are gluten-free, like Kelly and myself, you know, we tend to know a way around, you know, there are ways around making, I wouldn't make that one because that's full of bread, but there's, you know, ways around having the gluten-free, making things gluten-free. So that's there's the noodles as well. And so there's a whole lot of amazing dishes in there. There we go. That one's pasticcio. That's Greek, isn't it, Irene?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that the lentil one though? Is that the lentil?
I don't know. Have a look.
Oh no, it looks like meat.
Meat.
Definitely meat sauce.
Yep.
There's another one, like there's a lentil lasagna, which is delicious.
Okay. And obviously your risotto. So, you know, as you know, we were saying before, Michelle was saying before, you know, the pestos, the pastas are really, that's what I've made, apart from the pasta bit. And risottos are really good, cheap option for dinners, filling people up with carbs. But there we go. We've got other ones here, stir-fried beef bowls, you know, any sorts of cottage pies. I mean, again, with that, it's another great way of using up whatever vegetables you've got in the fridge. So I think that's the Thermomix is a great way to do that, to just, you know, chop things up, sneak them in there, even green things. I wouldn't get away with boys thinking that mine wasn't green. It's a very green dish, but you know, but lots of ways to actually sneak extra veggies in, and using up what you've got in the fridge. So,
Mandy, I'm ready when you
you're
are.
ready. Wonderful.
Yes.
Okay, we'll come back to you then.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so next step is to add our cabbage. So it's just shredded cabbage, 280 grams. I'm going to pop that in. And then from memory, yes, it's stirring it once again just to bring the meat and cooked vegetables up towards the top, and to bury some of this cabbage, which will help it cook faster. So I'm just going to try and get that through a bit more. So a good stir. Going everywhere, that's okay. All right, pop our lid on once again, measuring cup in, and we'll give it another lot of cooking for 3 minutes at 100 degrees.
Wonderful, thank you very much. All right. So any of you out there, because I can't see you all, anyone got any questions about cookie dough? Are you all comfortable with using filters? Are you all comfortable with finding your shopping list and adding to your shopping list and modifying that? Do you know how you can share a recipe? Any of those things? Anyone got any questions to do with that? I'll take that as a no. Okay.
Has anybody been using the Woolworths shopping, like adding things to your cart and then ordering the shopping?
Yeah, I don't know. Does anybody order their shopping online?
No,
You have, Michelle. There you go.
So easy.
Yes, yeah. And the great thing about it is you can, oh, Vicky as well. So you can change whatever you put into your cart. You know, they will allocate things to you, and you can actually swap them around. So if it's something that you prefer, you can, you know, a different brand, say, you can do that. But I think, I mean, it's a really fantastic thing. But what I've really noticed and tried to embrace, not to do with Woolworths particularly, but is when you go into the supermarket, if you have a look at the sauces in there, you know, whether it's a tomato sauce or a any type of sauce, you'll find a lot of them are in plastic. And again, we're really lucky with the Thermomix that we can make our own. So I made a batch of tomato sauce the other day. You can make your barbecue sauces. I know Kelly makes some of those as well. We know Irene's got a mean Worcestershire sauce lurking at her house. But it's just, you know, plastic is just one of those, you know, it's the scourge of the earth. And I can't say that I have nothing plastic in my house, because that, if I told you that, that would be a big fat lie. But, you know, it's one of the ways that with the Thermomix, we can actually make a difference and make our own sauces. I mean, we're already, you know, I said, you know, mine's very eclectic. I just have old jars and just fill them up with whatever you know, whatever I need. That's what I use. So I'm sure most of you know, but it is 1,000 years for plastic to decompose. So it's just thinking about our kids and our kids. At one point, my daughter even said, oh, I don't want to bring kids into this world. So I just think it's a really important thing to be mindful of that. And if you go, again, you know, I used to buy a whole heap of stuff from the supermarket, but now there's a lot of stuff that I would make rather than going there, and particularly thinking about what I'm buying. So even like with Philly cheese, you can get a double pack. And I didn't tell him off, but my husband came back with a double pack covered in the plastic a couple of weeks ago, but he'd been very kindly gone down shopping, so he didn't get, you know, didn't get told off. But I would never do that. I would pay a little bit more. I know this is all about saving money, but I would pay a little bit more to help save the planet, and I would buy 2 separate ones without the plastic. So just yeah, that's my little hobby horse for the night. Well, go over. Looks like Irene's ready for us over there, so we might go and have a look at her.
My soup is ready. So guys, this is a 2.6 litre thermoserver. Obviously the recipe I think was originally designed for the 31 TM5. So you can definitely increase the liquid here. Maybe, I don't know that you need to increase the veggies at all, but that's great. So now basically it's in my thermoserver, which is also a host reward. So not just the glide board, but the thermoservers, get a few friends together. These Zoom sessions, if you bring friends along, they also qualify, and that's going to keep my soup nice and hot for a couple of hours. So it's something you can make at home and you're not having to reheat, so save a bit of energy as well. So get your hands on a thermoserver if you haven't got one. Tastes delicious, by the way. So I'm going to freeze some of this. So I've cooked the pasta till, you know, that al dente. I've done that sort of that Italian style, because I'm going to portion this out. Obviously can't eat this much soup tonight, so I'm going to have some for dinner. The rest I'm going
sounds like a challenge.
Definitely not. One I'd failed miserably at. So so freeze it. So don't overcook. If you're going to put rice in there, if you're going to put pasta in there, don't overcook it. Cook it till it's just done, so that when you do reheat it, it doesn't go gluggy and feels yucky to eat. So just cooked, perfect, ready to go into the freezer once it's cooled down, of course. Yeah, nice and hot for tonight. So warming my hands. It's so cold tonight.
Good on you. Thank you. Wonderful, Irene. Thank you very much for cooking that tonight. That's fantastic. I can see Helen is all plated up there, so we'll move over to Helen.
All plated up.
Oh my gosh, I'm busting to eat it, no doubt. That looks amazing.
Doesn't it?
Family is eating theirs now. So how is it, guys? Good. I got a thumbs up and a nice.
Good. Excellent. Fantastic.
Go and eat this one now.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Helen.
Helen, can I just ask, so what size pie dishes do you use? Is that a 23 centimetre per
That is
recipe?
a 23. It's a 23. I presume it's a deep one.
Yep. And do you think the crumble was too much? Do you think it was, would you put more on it? What would you do?
I didn't use it all. There is a lot on it. I mean, you can see how thick it is.
Yeah, it looks really thick. So,
Yeah,
I guess you could save half of it.
I think probably half. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Because I did add a bit more when I was off screen. I added just a little bit more. So, yeah, I probably didn't need to do that either. So probably half, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with a nice thick crumble.
No.
Beautiful.
But you've got to make sure that it sort of cooks and
cooks, yes,
rather than powdery. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, it's good information. I think that's one of the nice things about cooking all these dishes too, because we all learn as we're going along too. And now you could cut the crumble in half.
Correct.
Yeah, wonderful.
Thanks,
Helen. Thank you for cooking.
No worries. Thank you.
Now, Kelly, have you got yours there?
I do.
Oh, wonderful.
So
okay.
the last step for mine is to add some fried noodles to the top and allow that to soften so you can stir it through. Because I'm doing gluten-free, I've got gluten-free fried noodles, James. And I normally wait until the last moment to put these on because we actually like a bit of crunch to our chow mein. So I'll add those and I'll lower my screen so you can see the final result there. I would say that I probably needed to shred the cabbage just a little bit more because it still probably needs another maybe 3 minutes of cooking. So the rest of it I will just pop it on again. But other than that, it smells amazing.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on tonight, Kelly. And if anybody else is inspired to come and guest, then you are very welcome. I've got my eye on a few people on that list there. Vicky. Anyway, we'd love to have you. But thank you very much, Kelly. That's amazing.
Thanks for having me. It's fun.
It's a pleasure. It's always fun. So my dish here, it's just a beautiful colour. And I think that's going to be amazing. But for actually serving it, I've got a lot of liquid. So again, another learning thing from tonight that if you're not adding pasta or rice or anything like that, then cut down on the liquid. But it actually doesn't really matter because it would be the fantastic base for a soup anyway. So we'll certainly all be used. So that's pretty much it for us. But I would like to just say there is another class on Tuesday night, which is called Winter Warmers. That is 3 team leaders presenting that, Bayside team leaders. And if you're interested in that, please contact your consultant and I'm sure they'll be able to share the details with you. We are going to do, in a couple of weeks' time, we're going to do Christmas in July class. So that should be a bit of fun. Work out that menu. And if anybody does want to take advantage of the limited time offer, host rewards, thanks Alice, the glider board or the vacuum cleaner, which is amazing. Irene's got it as well. And I tell you what, before I had it, because the vacuum cleaner's got the mop head as well, and it vacuums and mops at the same time. Does a bit of vibration on the floor as it's doing that. we have some timber boards here. Before I had this vacuum cleaner, I would have to get, the mop part, I would have to get down on the floor and dry it without, so I didn't get smeary, and it's fantastic this way. So really enjoying it.
Totally
Thanks
agree, Mandy.
Yeah.
It's absolutely brilliant.
It is. Thanks for coming, Michelle. You're welcome anytime. And yeah, if anybody wants to join the team, we'd love to have Kelly, but we've already had this discussion that her husband would kill her. So thank you all.
I think he said he'd divorce her.
Oh, divorce her. Yes, he didn't say kill. Sorry.
Much the same.
Same.
Anyway, thank you so much for coming, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thanks for coming, Monsi.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure.